Yamemo bibi akwa bade aba smart Ghana update so we news update fufuro kra na de ba besom abusia Canada compare ko Agyapong ne baton no de alan kojo chenwaten e na asom ne nyina ne sesei ono so preach Ghana first ene transformation na no e na enra okoko PM one Kwasi Pra Junior ne nyina eye one on one nkomo bi omotwetwen na abusia or the interesting revelations bi atoto abonte a bepese ye beko ne akwa akuti de dikan o kiremu a say ade se abato ya ye komi in 2024 yi ekoba se akọ run off na yesi wono ene decide a party property a ode ne ho kwa join ni amanipa no atimi awini no abusua ode atodwa ye kwa akuti abusua na de atoso mienu no ekoba se osi odi second a why ready se one party kro no a odi nkunim no ebekọ akogye adwuma ana eno na ode atodwa se ni nyina ne se party kro no o preach Canada compare ko Agyapong ne Ghana first ni bi so se nipa no enyom esi na ni so no Ghana first na esa so kra ono so transformation agenda ne dia ayade se obetimi de ne ho adjoin ne party kro no na one na ye adwuma na emom for now no de gisi cross bridge no oni party kro no poti e woni tirim abusua eno so yakwa akoti abusua na de toso miensan so butterfly a otwusu ye wo se initially no e kame akoye se na nkra bi e di agro na omonti ase nti na omofiri se agro e na odi ba afi a wo chechire mu ama omate ase no e no mahu se yes butterfly na otwusu ye no ejina ho ma ade bi na won agenda a deba a sese amanfo no ehwe ni mu abusua de toso nan enso so elections ya eba so yi se olusu na kame akoye se osusu se enyoma bi anko ya obekọ court anase wonko abusua ode atodwa se eba sa obemeki sure se wode kwa akoto court nanim ama mo de asem no ato ba bi eda ni nyina ne se wo kwa wode evidence ebekọ abusua eno so yakwa akuti de atwato ne connection with President Kofi ekwan a onim President Kofi na kame akoye se ne nyoma bi a wo ye no Kwasi Pra pese wo kire se ya se President Kofi dodo abusua wo kirem na kwan a ofaso onim no ebepem ne ni nyina abusua wode atodwa a mepese ebekọ ne yakwa akuti wa bra sansemi etodwa yeba yebeto aso pepese ne nsem ni nyina esitie
many of them Ghana for someone who's a BBN who Mr. Lancashire can honorable Ken so can it means that Ghana your problem pa no.
Election results have been declared and there's the need for a runoff between the NDC and the NPP. What would you do? Where would you stand?
Because it's a hypothetical question, because I said I will either be first or second.
Yes.
But obviously,
yes.
So it's a hypothetical question,
exactly.
So it can occur. We'll cross that bridge
when we get to the bridge.
Yes.
But that should be a difficult one for you, should it?
Smart the reason why I said we'll get
Mr. Alan Patricia from my NDC, now
it must be obvious from
MPP. The only one you big big time
throughout recent months that my interest is to make Ghana work again. That is my interest. My interest is Ghana first. So I would be more aligned in that situation.
Update.
I'll be more aligned to whichever party seeks to be aligned
to the transformational
agenda. That is what is going to drive my decision under those circumstances.
So let's say that the election results are announced and you came second.
Yes.
And only the first can form a government.
Yes, absolutely. Yes.
And
that is, there's no runoff because
there's no runoff.
So
you are second.
Yes.
Maybe the NPP is first, you are second.
Yeah.
Maybe the NDC is first, you are second.
Yes.
If you were given an opportunity to serve again, would you serve?
Again, my instinct would be that why not? I mean, if I'm true to what I'm saying, that my interest is to serve Ghana, why not? But then again, because I've been in this game for a long time, I think I've reached a point where a decision to serve will be based on whether the agenda of that particular party that has won is to put Ghana first and also to have transformation. For me, I will only accept to work if it is within the context of the transformation agenda. is available to us, and which I have a lot of confidence in, to interrogate the matter. And as a lawyer, I respect the administration of justice, and I would, in those circumstances, like to submit myself to the direction of our courts. And in that respect, it's based on evidence. It's not a question of saying that I have won, somebody has been declared. So where is my evidence? I have to be able to produce the evidence before the courts of law and allow the system of justice to make a declaration on that basis. That's how, just from my own,
Just off the
top of my head. Okay. That's what I would do. Yes. Yeah.
And something is just hitting me.
Yes.
You sound so much like President Kofi.
Really?
Yes. In everything.
Yes, yes.
What, have you been associated with him for a long time? What is the connection? Was it some of the ideas appear to be similar?
Yes, very much so. You know, myself and President Kofi is, like I say, senior brother to me. We come a long way, even from our family, connections. Come from a long. Incidentally, my father was the mayor of Kumasi. At that time, they were called Town Clerk, many years ago. And eventually, President Kofi also, many years later, he became, my father was the minister, or at that time they were called commissioner for local government during the NLC days, And later on, Kofi also, remember, had a short stint in the Rawlings's regime. So both from the family connection and then the professional connection, basically we've had that interaction. But fast forward, when he was running to be president, I played a major role, albeit behind the scenes, in terms of the strategy and execution of the strategy that helped him to come into power. And finally, when he came into power also, I introduced some of the most innovative programs, initiatives, the PSIs, Presidential Special Initiatives, for example, when it's led by myself, and many other programs and projects. And you remember during Kofi's time, this whole thing about the golden age of business and the fact that the private sector really was booming then, because I was in charge of not just trade and industry, but also of the private sector development and presidential special initiatives. So we are aligned in so many ways. Of course, there are areas that we have disagreements, but generally speaking, our thoughts have always been aligned.
It is so obvious.
Majority of Ghanaians are also saying that they are sick and tired of promises of these parties. And the promises are reflected in the manifestos. But what Ghanaians need are not manifestos. What they need is a plan. A manifesto promise has to be backed by a plan. Otherwise, it doesn't make sense. There's no point in just saying that it's about digitization. Where is the plan behind that promise? 24-hour economy. Where is the plan behind that manifesto promise? So people are looking to go beyond manifestos. They want a plan. When Nkrumah introduced the 7-year development plan, there was clarity about the way forward in terms of our development path. Whether you agreed with it or not, there was a plan. And so this is what the majority of Ghanaians are also looking for. And last but not the least, the same Ghanaians are saying that we have to also change our attitudes as Ghanaians. If you look at the governance space, as Ghanaians, as citizens, we are also responsible for what is happening. The lack of discipline, total indiscipline, disrespect for the rule of law. Everybody believes that they can do what they want. The corruption. I mean, how is it that we've had these two countries, everybody talking about corruption, and we still have a problem on our hands? And it takes two to tango. So we as citizens also have to take part of the blame for the level of corruption that we have in this country. Attitude to work. People go to work and it's as if they are doing their employees a favor. So that's the fourth dominant thing. So people are saying that, oh, by this, the third force, yes, it's a third force, but a third force with a difference. It's a third force with a difference for a number of reasons. One, this is a third force that is led by a dominant figure in Ghanaian politics. Because I know, you know that I'm very modest about what I say about myself. But the truth of the matter is that I have been a dominant figure in Ghanaian politics for a long time. And so if I come out of a dominant party and I'm leading a movement, you cannot compare that to, A, B, C, D, and it has never worked. That's quite different. Secondly, also, you can see that this third force has come at an opportune time. It has come at a time when generally people are very despondent, about the state of the nation, So it is slightly different from what has been happening, And thirdly, it is very clear that Ghanaians believe that their transformation will not occur on the back of parties, but on the back of leadership. It's a question of leadership. And the reason why I say this is that if you look at our constitution, it vests so much power and authority in one person, who is the president. So how is it that you can elect a president who has so much power on the basis of the color of his party? Does it make sense? That somebody who has such authority to make or make the country is selected on the basis of the color of his party? No. The great nations of this world were built not on the back of parties, but on the back of individuals. Great men. Lee Kuan Yew. Do you even remember what Lee Kuan Yew's party was? You want it. Now when we talk about Singapore, it's about one person. China. Look, we are talking about 30 years between MPP and NDC. It took China around the same 30 years to move billions from poverty to prosperity. And now China, over a 30-year period, is the second most powerful economy. And is it on the back of just the Communist Party? No. If you interrogate it, you see that it was Deng Xiaoping that made the difference around 1989 when he led the opening up of China. In Ghana, it's the same thing. Whether we like it or not, if you are talking about the dominant figure in Ghanaian politics that created that significant change, you mentioned Kwame Nkrumah first. It was not the CPP. So that's why when they mention Nkrumah, not the CPP. I hope you are not worried about me not talking about CPP, but you know I know where your roots are. So, yeah. But so basically, that's what the movement is about.
What is your specific prescription for dealing with inflation?
So if you look at inflation in Ghana, in economics, there's what they call demand pull and cost pull inflation. The same analogy with government. So we don't have expenditure control measures that is aligned to our revenue base. So we are living above our means. We are living above our means. And when that occurs, you have to be able to borrow to fill the gap. So we are doing what is called deficit financing. But the problem with that is that if you continue doing that over a long period of time, then you have that debt overhang. And the moment you start creating that situation for yourself, then the people who you are borrowing from, particularly from the external sources, once they get a sense that you are unable to raise enough revenue to pay your debt, because if you borrow from me and you are not showing any signs that you can pay your debt, then you close the door. And then secondly, also then that you have problems in terms of your own stability. So in the case of Ghana, exactly what has happened is the fact that we don't cut our cloth according, how do you say, we don't cut our cloth,
the cloth according to your size. Is that not how they say? Yes.
So this has been a problem, and it has been so endemic.
But also, Mr. Lankasha Agyapong said we borrowed excessively. That this government borrowed excessively. What was Mr. Lankasha? Mwajia to Mr. Lankasha say credit reference agencies no or downgrade Ghana to junk status. Yes. Because MPP for Obinim asem we buy any year Castella Musi Yabua because I am a party to more than someone here. What was Mr. Agyapong? Now remember, Mr. Alan not a economic management team, not Okahubi. What was our say Akufuado Abai Abo Busiapa?
I'm very pleased that we chose the butterfly. Initially, people were making little jokes about it, but now they are beginning. And I'm happy that we also talked about its role for a nation. Yes. So we are pleased that we chose the butterfly.